Well, our reporter Nthakoana Ngatane is tracking those elections for us in Lesotho. She's on the line from Maseru now. Good afternoon. What's the mood like in the capital city ahead of the vote tomorrow, Nthakoana?
Good afternoon, Kashni. Maseru getting quieter and quieter as the day goes by, because a lot of people who reside in the capital will go to their villages and hometowns to cast their votes there. So this day, having been declared a public holiday, means that they're able to do that even if they are to travel long distances, so that when the polling stations open at 7 a.m. tomorrow, they are there. The Independent Electoral Commission has just officially launched the results center. This will be the heart of the election, the June 3 elections in Lesotho. This is where all results will come in. And the chairperson in front of the diplomatic corps in Lesotho and political party representatives and some members of the media saying it is imperative for Lesotho to go through this process to ensure democracy in Lesotho. Kashni?
Nthakoana, what will be the role of the army in tomorrow's elections? And can you elaborate a little bit on what the state of play right now is between the army and the police? Because any lasting peace will depend on collaboration between these two vital security apparatus.
Kashni, in the past 2-3 weeks, the opposition met with the facilitator and specifically requested that, like in the 2015 elections, the army should be confined to the barracks. But the army came out at the time and said only the government and the command of the army will decide what role the army will play. Subsequently, the SADC Observer Mission, when it was launched, said that it got the assurance from the Prime Minister that the only role that the army would play would be transporting, not even delivering, but transporting voting materials, including ballot papers, to hard-to-reach areas via helicopter. So army helicopters and army pilots would be used to transport those voting materials. But just now, this afternoon, we've just had a conversation with the observers who met jointly, and they said to us that concerns about the role of the army still continue despite those assurances that we were given by SADC, but saying that the army says that what it will do is it will act professionally and according to the law. Now, what that means, I guess we have to wait to see when deployment of the security establishment is done tomorrow during election day. Question?
Nthakoana, this is the third election in 5 years. What are the expectations of ordinary Basotho right now? How enthusiastic are people to go out and make their mark? When we spoke earlier in the week, you did mention that some voter fatigue had set in among the electorate.
Indeed, Kashmi, as you say, a third election in 3 years. We have just spoken now to Professor Lesiba from the University of South Africa, and he says that, yes, indeed, you should expect people to be fatigued, to be going to elections every 2 years and every 3 years. And so he says what Lesotho really needs, like SADC has said, like the political stakeholders have committed, is a dialogue, a national dialogue, to iron out issues, to reform the constitution, to reform the security sector, the judiciary in Lesotho. And in terms of what we can expect to happen, him saying that, as you can see now, there are so many parties contesting these elections, and all the stakeholders saying the same thing. There are so many parties contesting these elections. You expect to have another coalition government, and perhaps that is not really the solution for Lesotho, because as we have seen with the last two coalition governments, they are unstable. But the electoral model hasn't changed, and until it does, perhaps Lesotho is heading for another coalition. And the chairperson of the Electoral Institute of Southern Africa, or rather Electoral Institute for Sustainable Development in Africa, former president of Zambia, Rupiah Banda, also saying that the main concern is not necessarily tomorrow, it is what happens after this election, whether Lesotho, in fact, will find stability following the election, and saying that stakeholders should assist Lesotho and support Lesotho to find that stability post-election, not necessarily through this election, because this is already happening now. Kashni?
Thank you, Nthakoana Ngatane, on the line to us there from Maseru in Lesotho.